A cordial greeting. Today is Wednesday, August 13, 2025. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. At the time of recording this video, it is 5:30 p.m. local time in the Northeast Caribbean, where we are closely monitoring the evolution of Tropical Storm Erin. After several days in which Tropical Storm Erin remained weak and failed to strengthen, this afternoon we have finally seen the tropical cyclone begin to develop strong thunderstorms and a convection area near or over the center of circulation. These are signs of strengthening. And in the 5 p.m. advisory, the National Hurricane Center indicates that the tropical storm now has winds of 50 miles per hour. This means that the strengthening process that has been forecast is now underway, just as we had projected. Once the cyclone reached longitude 45 degrees west, it would begin moving over increasingly warmer sea surface temperatures. This is surely the start of an intensification process. In fact, the National Hurricane Center forecasts that in about 36 hours it is very likely that Tropical Storm Erin will become the first hurricane of the season, and in about 5 days it could reach major hurricane status when it is at its closest point to the Northeast Caribbean. In this video, I would like to discuss what effects this tropical cyclone could bring if the forecast track holds. While the center of circulation could pass about 200 to 250 miles northeast of the Caribbean, it would be close enough to bring some indirect effects, including dangerous surf and rip currents along the northern coasts of the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic, as well as some heavy rains and possibly some gusty winds that could reach tropical storm force. In the 5 p.m. advisory, the National Hurricane Center urges residents of Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the northern Lesser Antilles to stay alert to the evolution of Tropical Storm Erin, which, although it should pass northeast of the region, could bring some indirect impacts. The second part of this video will specifically address the effects expected this weekend in this area. Switching to the visible satellite animation, we can see that Tropical Storm Erin has a rather healthy structure, with strong circulation and the convection area now covering the center of circulation. Erin seems ready to begin a strengthening process that could be quite rapid over the next 36 hours. In terms of track, there have been no major changes. Models continue to project that tonight it will move westward, and it seems the southwestward component has ended. It should now move due west for the next 12 hours, and then, starting Thursday morning, begin to turn west-northwest. There is still strong consensus that it will pass 200 to 300 miles northeast of the Caribbean and eventually take a northward track, passing west of Bermuda. However, I should note that some models, such as the European models, show a track a bit farther west, which is why we must continue monitoring how close the center gets, as this will determine the indirect effects we feel this weekend. In terms of intensity, the models continue to project fairly rapid strengthening, with the majority indicating that in about 24 to 36 hours it will be a Category 1 hurricane, and in roughly 4 to 5 days it could be a Category 3 hurricane. This is reflected in the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center, which calls for Erin to turn west-northwest by early Friday, strengthen into the first hurricane of the season, and by Sunday afternoon reach Category 3 north of Puerto Rico. This means its closest point to the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico would be Saturday night. For those concerned about a direct impact on the Northeast Caribbean, I can say the consensus remains strong that it will stay northeast of the Caribbean. For example, the midday run of the American Model Ensemble members keep that track without directly affecting Puerto Rico, the Lesser Antilles, or the Dominican Republic. Beyond 4 to 5 days, uncertainty increases, with scenarios ranging from approaching Bermuda to moving much farther west. At this range, it is too soon to talk about exact tracks beyond 7 days. The European Model Ensemble members, while generally a bit farther west, mostly keep a track northeast of the Caribbean without directly affecting the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, or the Dominican Republic. Most members also show a major hurricane as it moves through the southwest Atlantic. In this case, the European Model Ensemble shows a track that could approach the U.S. East Coast in the longer term. As Tropical Storm and future hurricane Erin passes near the Northeast Caribbean, it could bring some effects to parts of the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico, mainly from outer bands and what we call the hurricane's tail, which could move over parts of the Northeast Caribbean this weekend. This could produce some rain and tropical storm-force wind gusts, depending on how close it passes. That's why the National Hurricane Center urges residents of Puerto Rico and the northern Lesser Antilles to stay tuned to advisories over the coming days. The chance of showers can be seen in the American Model's projection, showing some outer bands affecting the northern Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico on Saturday and Sunday. We see the same in the European Model projection, which has a slightly closer track that could bring increased rainfall this weekend in the Northeast Caribbean. Now, let's talk about tropical storm and hurricane force winds. The American Model's midday run had a track well away from the Northeast Caribbean, keeping tropical storm force winds, in orange on this animation, over the open Atlantic. However, Any westward shift could allow some tropical storm force gusts to affect the northeast Caribbean this weekend, even if the center remains northeast of the area. Again, this depends on how close it passes. The European model's wind gust projection shows some 30 to 40 miles per hour gusts near coastal areas. The latest German model run shows a much farther south track than the National Hurricane Center forecast, which, while keeping hurricane-force winds over the Atlantic, could allow some tropical storm force gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour to affect the northern Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico. Note that the German model's track is currently west of the official forecast, making it the less likely scenario. The UK model, also European-based, has a track about 150 miles north-northeast of Puerto Rico and also shows some tropical storm force gusts possible over local waters. At this time, winds in the region should not cause major issues, but they do remind us to stay vigilant. Looking at rainfall totals from the American model's midday run, we see 2 to 3 inches across the northern Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico this weekend. A closer track, as in the European model, also shows 2 to 3 inches this weekend. More than wind and rain, what really concerns us right now is the strong surf and rip currents that could affect the northern Lesser Antilles, northern Puerto Rico, northern Dominican Republic, and the Bahamas. The latest European model projection shows waves of 10 to 11 feet near the coast, creating dangerous conditions at sea and on beaches in the northeast Caribbean. Special caution is advised, especially for tourists in the area. That's it for this forecast update. Here at Hurricane Info, I will continue to monitor Tropical Storm Erin's evolution and will keep you informed of any unexpected forecast changes, so stay tuned to the channel. Before I go, I'd like to invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon to get notifications when I post new videos. With that, I say goodbye. I hope everyone has a great evening. See you later.